Welcome to Peeking Over the Fence, a podcast where we share real stories of healing and hope. We are your hosts, Missy and Karen, and we're so glad you're here.
Hi, Missy.
Hi, Karen.
Hi. Today, episode number 7.
Yes.
We are so excited. We have our very first guest, and what a wonderful first guest
I'm so
to
honored.
have. We
Thank
have
you.
Laura Heflin from Living Healthy with Laura. Did I say that right?
It's live healthy with Laura, but I'm
Live Healthy with Laura.
however you want to say it. Yeah.
And she is an author. We're going to be talking about her fourth book today, Just
Yeah.
Jump. Um, but first, Laura is a functional nutritionist in the office where I work. She is, I always, when I introduce her in the office, I tell everyone she's a local celebrity because she is.
I want Jesus to be famous. I don't want to be famous, but
Well,
thank
and
you.
that's why, right. No, absolutely. And so, Laura, for listeners who may not know you yet, can you share a little bit about who you are and how you ended up and this career path and all the wonderful things that you
Yeah.
are doing?
Wow. Okay, I'll try my very best to give a Cliff Notes version of my story. Okay, so, and I actually, it's kind of fresh because I just spoke to a group of women the other day and shared it. So let's see, I bottled body dysmorphia for as long as I can remember. So when I was 11, 12, I had a spinal fusion surgery that was 9 hours long. It put me into a inflammatory cascade in my body. I ended up with a lot of skin issues after that. But I also ended up getting my menstrual cycle almost immediately. My mom and dad are assuming, like, just from like the timeline, that the stress of the surgery threw my hormones into havoc. Well, before I knew it, I was covered in cystic acne and scars all over my face. Scars that I could not cover up. It would take hours. I would feel like, and I still didn't feel beautiful. And so I felt like the enemy really used that. The devil used that against me for a long time of like, keep people at a distance. And I think from a young age, I've always felt like the odd one out. I was always a little awkward. I was always a little weird. I was like the kid writing stories in the corner, like wearing her shoes on the wrong feet. Like, I don't know, I was always feeling a little odd. And that really adds some icing to the cake when you get cystic acne. And then I had to wear a body cast for a year that was hot pink. So at the time of my life where I feel, you feel that it's already hard. My daughter's 11 and I'm already thinking she's beautiful and very confident, but that was the age that I would say my confidence plummeted. And I was a believer from 7 years old on, but man, I did not let God define me for most of my life. And so at the age of 18, I got married to my high school sweetheart. We are married 18 years now. He's actually Our episode airs Monday where he's on my podcast.
Wow.
And I we had a lot of fun that year, lots of ultra processed food and lots of, like I don't know, they call it love chub because I think you just like throw everything to the wind. I am on my small frame, put on a good amount of weight in a year, and I woke up one day and I was like, oh, now I really don't feel good about myself. My scars had cleared at that time, but I was like still dealing with body dysmorphia, but then that really didn't help. So this is like domino effect. So I decided to take matters in my own hands. And I, at the time, was working for my father he's a family medicine doctor. He's still in the area working. And he had a private practice at the time. I worked with him as his receptionist. So that was what was happening. First year of marriage, working with my dad. But then I started battling an eating disorder that I didn't know was an eating disorder at first. Really just kind of getting obsessive with numbers, obsessive with the scale, kind of experimenting with how little food I could get away with, trying different fad diets that were out there, and getting kind of excited because the weight was coming off. But in the midst of all of that, I lost my menstrual cycle. And I have several gene mutations that make me very sensitive to hormonal fluctuations
Mhm.
and it impacts my neurotransmitters severely. And Karen knows I can have really great days and really hard days. And, so I have to be very careful to care for myself. Well, losing my cycle completely impacted my neurotransmitters. And I woke up one day as a shell of a person. Not just, I mean, not only did I have the body dysmorphia, but then I had this dark, like, I couldn't see the colors of my life anymore. It was like I was a prisoner of my own mind. And I started having suicidal ideation. I was so anxious to drive. Certain things like overcame me I never would have expected, and I never would wish that on my worst enemy. Like it was so awful. I would love to say that resolved quickly as I got into nutrition, which I'll get into, but it took a decade, a literal 10 years of my life to get my mental health back. So, after a period of time, the Lord shook me. Thank God. It didn't get, it got pretty bad, but it didn't get to like a place where I had to be hospitalized or anything. But it was a place where I was miserable enough, I'll put it that way, that I had no choice but to wake up. I think God allows us sometimes to get to a place of really deep lows where we have, yeah, humility shows up because we're like, okay, God, apparently this is not working my way. And I didn't expect when I was doing this and abusing my body, I was just trying to lose weight. I didn't expect now this depression. What is this? And I can't live this way. And so I really believe God saved me. I really don't know if I would be here if it wasn't for God and him, the Holy Spirit, speaking to me. And so and I said this the other day, it's so interesting how our aha moments are sometimes like random and not expected. I take my grandma out to dinner, my husband and we took her out to an Italian restaurant. This is all in episode 1 of the Live Healthy Flora podcast, but I share this story because I remember it so crystal clear how it changed everything. So we're sitting at an Italian restaurant. My husband had started to pick up that I wasn't okay at that point and that he had seen me push food away and whatnot. And I was rapidly losing weight on it. I looked like a skeleton. I was not healthy. People were commenting. It was not good. So he was picking up on that. And he actually said, Laura, why don't you just order something you really want? So for a long time, I had been like a lot of food fear, afraid of restaurants. I would like nibble on the lettuce. It was really, but again, I covered it up as a health journey. I will say that for a long time,
Mhm.
which was just the devil's tactic, right? To take anything and twist it to keep us sick. Which I could say a whole lot about that in our health space right now, but I digress. And so, so anyways, I ordered lasagna, okay, at an Italian restaurant out to dinner with my sweet grandma, who I miss so much. And I had this like light bulb moment. No, I didn't audibly hear the voice of God, but I felt it in my spirit. Laura, you need to just chill out and relax and balance. This is the word I kept hearing is balance, balance, balance. And I was like, what if I balanced? What if this is not health at all? What if I'm supposed to just balance the way I live? Maybe I still can have pasta and maybe I still can have a little sweets here and a little bit here and there. Maybe this food fear is really not good for me. I need to like find a new way. It was like that one pivotal moment because I had not enjoyed food in so long. It was my first, I almost think of it like being in prison and you get out of prison and you're like sleeping in a bed for the first, I don't know. I'm just like, I'm a visual person. So I'm like, it felt that good to me to be like, what have I been doing? This is so amazing to finally relax around food. So that moment on, I started getting in the kitchen and just playing with whole foods and like, all right, God, I'm just gonna go back to the Bible, go back to nature, go back to the foods you've given us in this earth to heal. And I don't know how to heal, but I'm gonna believe that if you put these foods here, I can heal. That was the belief I had. And it's true. And so I started playing with whole foods, hence I have hundreds of recipes on my blog. They were not so beautiful back then. Now I have an amazing
Mhm.
team to help me photograph and stage them. But I just started sharing these foods and getting so excited about like, look at this chocolate ice cream I made that's vegan. It tastes so good. And it's like, I feel so good. And I got my energy back, but I got my life back in a way I didn't expect. Now, again, I battled some inflammation and I did battle some anxiety and things like that. It tapered off. It was a long journey, but for sure, that one dinner out with my grandma like pivoted things with me.
Mhm.
And I know it sounds bizarre because it's like it's one dinner out. No, it's a moment I won't forget because I know God spoke to me like this is not what I want for you. And
Right.
so, okay, so then to fast forward, I'm in my dad's office. I've been 7 years then at that point. I think seven, I don't know how many years. I was a receptionist and my husband goes, Laura, you're so passionate about health and wellness. Like you're already in a wellness clinic. You're in a doctor's office. Your dad's go get certified. Go become a holistic, nutritionist. Go get certified and go help other people. And I'm like, well, yeah, I guess I could. I'm already researching all the time anyways and working on healing myself and talking to friends about it. So that was 15 years ago, and the rest is history. I then worked alongside my amazing dad. I love so much, Dr. Chris Harrington. Shout out to him. He is
Yes.
now with, yeah, he's now with the hospital because he had his own practice and it was a lot. He loved it, but it was time to just kind of not manage the circus, just be in the circus. So he's doing great, and I'm now with Karen at Naturally Radiant. But the crazy thing is, I got really sick with long COVID 5 years ago. And
Mm.
as I was helping others, I couldn't find answers myself. Long COVID was something that had not been really discovered or taught or researched too much at that point. I had got diagnosed with fibromyalgia, horrible brain fog. I'm literally Googling like a wellness clinic near me. I think I need some type of detox, and I found Karen. I found Naturally Radiant. I just bring my little toddler in with me. I'm a hot mess express and I'm getting foot baths. And Karen and I just formed this relationship. And then she tells me about nutrition response testing, which I had heard about, I had done before, but I started working with her one on one. And then like a few years into that, my dad decides to go at the hospital. I'm like, oh, I'm about to lose my office space. Hey, Karen,
Mhm.
let Keely know if she wants a nutritionist. I'm looking for an office space. And now has that been 2 years? 2 years, I
I
think.
don't know. It's hard for me to remember before you were there because
Oh,
I was
yeah,
before Missy and I pre-gamed a little bit and I was telling her like what a
been a while.
intricate part to the office you are because I
Oh,
can only do
thank
so much
you.
with supplements, right? If I
Yeah,
can't outrun and
a bad diet or a
yeah.
nervous system dysregulation. Yeah. And so I'm just like, the Holy Spirit has like changed my life. He has healed me. He's given me so much fire under my butt to help heal our sick culture. And that's what I'm doing today to the best of my ability.
So Laura, how would you define living healthy? Because it's different to everyone. So
Yeah.
tell us your definition of living healthy.
Listening to the body God gave you and understanding that no symptom that presents itself is by mistake,
Mhm.
and that your body does not send you hate mail. It is actually sending you love letters. It is trying to teach you. It is trying to get God made our bodies intelligent. It is trying to guide you to optimal health, optimal healing. Our bodies were made to function optimally. Our bodies were made to heal. We live in a culture though that is fear inducing, confusing, noisy, and I really am. This is a prayer I pray in my garden every morning. I'm very humble on my journey. Karen knows I see her every week because I need guidance myself. I'm so grateful for you, Karen. Oh my gosh, I love you.
Likewise, yeah.
And grateful for you too, Missy. I know you guys prayed for me last week as I was going through, yet again, like something with anxiety. And as I was going to do an event, and the devil's on the prowl, and I'm doing much better. Thank you. But where was I? Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. So yeah, I just sorry. I
No, no,
just
it's
feel
good.
that yeah, healthy is listening to the vessel God gave you, understanding it's not working against you. It's actually working for you. But we have allowed the world to become so noisy that we have tuned out, I'm sorry, our own God-given intuition. And so, what I love about what I do, what you do, Karen, is like we are working with individuals and honoring their body. We are not speaking at them. We are actually asking them a lot of questions to help for us, first of all, for us to understand them, but help them understand them. So, healthy is listening to you. Simple as that. Don't tune out the body. First, the body whispers, then it yells, then it shouts, then it screams. Let's get it away from, let's not let it scream, but let's start turning up the volume of our bodies, and when it's whispering, let's listen to it then. So that's my definition.
So, as a patient of practitioners like you both, I so
Yeah.
appreciate what you both do because I was in that cycle where I listened to the noise. I
Mhm.
chased diets for years. Karen and I talked about this previously of,
Mhm.
I would go on a trip and before the trip, I'm exercising, doing all the things, and then we get
Yeah.
back from the trip and then we're, back to the same old routine. And then all these
Mhm.
health issues and things start popping up. So I love that you get to the root cause of things because I think thank God for people like you that listen to your calling that help people because there is a lot of noise. And I remember when I started my whole health journey, it was looking at every single website, following every single person on Instagram, and really
Mhm.
just chasing, running in circles.
Mhm.
And I think one of the things that we talked about and we just touched on is yes, the food's important,
Mhm.
changing your eating habits and things like that. But the thing that just keeps popping up over the past few years is the nervous system and healing past traumas and how
Mhm.
that affects your body. And
Yeah.
so I'm not a professional. It's not something that I studied. It's just something that I know that has popped up for me. And as I've started to heal my nervous system, and face past traumas and the truth about my life and things like that and facing
Yeah.
things on, I've noticed the shift in my body and the healing process. So, Laura, can you touch on what that was like for you personally, learning
Mhm.
that and how that shifted your own health?
Yeah, I don't want to get too technical and sciencey on you guys, but if you don't mind, I will geek out for a
Yes,
minute
do
because and I'll just say this, like life is busy. I don't want to do anything that I'm not motivated. I'm not motivated to do anything that I don't know will actually work. And I
it.
also don't, I want to know why something works. It motivates me. And so I am always researching the human body. I'm taking courses on the human body. This is how I get recertified every 2 years. And I'm teaching clients about the human body and about the brain. Because if we don't understand something, which I'll say is pivotal to human health, all human health, everything physical we can imagine comes from this. It's the HPA axis. If we don't understand that the HPA axis, which is the hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal axis, granted, there's lots of other axes, but this is the one that if we can understand, it will make everything else make sense. So if we understand that hormonal imbalance stems from HPA axis dysregulation, autoimmune disease typically stems from this, gut dysfunction. If we understand what's happening, which if you bear with me, I'll explain, we understand why we stress relief practices and daily breathwork practices and starting our day with prayer and listening to the body, why it has to be the foundation, else nothing else will heal.
Mhm.
I think when we understand this, it makes it all make sense. So, and I'll just say, I've had many clients in 15 years actually be a little confused, some kind of push back. Hey, I don't really want to hear about the nervous system stuff. Can you just tell me what to eat? And the problem with that is if the nervous system is dysregulated, everything else will be dysregulated. You will be more inflamed. Your gut will not function properly. You won't make enough stomach acid to digest your food or pancreatic enzymes. Your hormones will stay imbalanced regardless of all the supplements because you're adding a bandage, but we're not fixing the root. You can stay depressed. There's all of these things that occur. So we have hypothalamus in the brain that I like to picture a triangle and it ping pong balls, right? So the hypothalamus communicates to the pituitary. The pituitary is also in our brain, but then this goes to our little thumb-sized glands, the adrenals. So hypothalamus, pituitary, then tells the adrenals what to do. So I like to explain to every client the hypothalamus in your brain, in your body, is the watchtower. It is the command center. It is looking for danger every single day, especially when you first wake up. And so when the body senses a fight or flight situation, and this is why I get really frustrated because people aren't understanding certain fads are really throwing people into HBA axis dysregulation, one of them being cold plunges, one of them being intermittent fasting. So extreme temperature changes and blood sugar dysregulation. These are some of the top two that I see really impacting our culture right now. Um, when the hypothalamus senses this threat, it communicates to the pituitary, to our tell our adrenals to pump the brakes of our sex hormones that we need that day that keep us happy, slim, thinking clearly, feeling our best, living our best life. And what it actually does is it tells your adrenals to steal those building blocks. This is called the pregnenolone steal. And then it makes cortisol instead. So this is really important. So then when that cortisol, we're supposed to have it in the morning, but when it is upregulated and it is through the roof all day long, what occurs is chronic inflammation. What occurs is a leakier gut. What occurs in the brain with chronic stress is a hippocampus, which is our mood, it regulates our mood, that shrinks over time. And it also makes our receptors less sensitive to happy hormones, serotonin and dopamine. So you look at certain issues like PCOS, we're having, estrogen dominance, we're having blood sugar issues, all of these things. We're not making enough progesterone. Again, hello, pregnenolone steal. People are depressed and anxious, but again, their hippocampus is shrinking. They're not sensitive to those receptors. The receptors are no longer sensitive. If we understand that cortisol, regardless of how little you eat, hello, this is me to my previous version of myself, not eating food, it didn't matter. My blood sugar was so unregulated. It was spiking and crashing because cortisol raises stored glucose.
Mm.
So you're actually raising your blood sugar on when you're living in a high stress state, whether or not you're eating. And so when you understand how the HPA axis works, you understand that you want to do everything you possibly can to let the hypothalamus know, the watchtower of the body, it's safe. And I mean, I don't think there's a single physical ailment, including I just spoke to a woman this morning who is dealing with a positive ANA, right? And those antinuclear antibodies where nobody can explain why, right? What is happening, but then we have a lot of stress going on. Well,
Mm.
when we understand the nervous system regulates the immune system, it's like a puppet on strings, right? When we understand that will keep the immune system hyper vigilant, it will be confused, it will attack healthy tissue. Again, it's all linked back down to stress.
Right.
So, but people are looking at stress differently. They're thinking, like, well, I have a great home life. I'm not stressed. No, that can be you skipping breakfast. That can be you not being asleep consistently between the hours of 10 and 4, which a new stat has just shown that people that are doing that for more than 25 days a year are considered night shift workers and statistically die 15 years sooner. So
Wow.
understanding that at 2 a.m. that cortisol rises regardless of who you are. If you're not asleep between 10 and 2, you're missing that deep restorative sleep. So I try to bring awareness to the HPA axis, not to geek anyone out or make them like overwhelmed, but I want them to understand that the nervous system piece, this is why I talk about it as much as I talk about food, they have to be together. Like you have to marry the two, else I really believe optimal health will stay out of one's reach. So I hope that wasn't too much, but I had to like dive in
No,
on
and that
that.
makes sense because I feel like really the gist of it all is that everybody is individual and that one
Yeah.
fad, like you said, cold plunge, for me personally, for me to even have a cold shower just makes me feel awful. So,
Well, during Chinese medicine shows it pulls energy from the thyroid.
right,
It lowers progesterone. I mean, again, we have to be careful with
right.
these
So
trends. Yeah.
it's each, I mean, it might work for one person, but it can be the complete opposite for the other
Yes.
person. And I feel like that's why it's so important not to t chase the trends. And it's
Mm-hmm.
so important to do individual work with
A
people
hundred
like
percent.
you, like Karen,
Mm-hmm.
and really getting to that root cause of it all. And I believe that like I love that you just geeked out because I love all that information.
Sorry, I can't help myself. Like, you want
And
to talk
I
about the
feel
nervous system? We're talking about the HPA.
right. So, and I think it's important for people to understand that portion, even if it doesn't make complete sense, it really is important for people to understand that, we can't like you do need to know how your body operates and you need to
Mhm.
know about stress and how that affects you and cortisol and
Mhm.
their nervous system and things like that. So
Yeah,
I appreciate all that information. And
of
I think
course.
that, I think it would be important, like you said, it took you 10 years. It took a long time. And I think people think, oh, I'm just going to eat healthy and
Mm,
things are just going to get better.
yeah.
So for you personally, what was that like? Did you know about the nervous system part at that point? And when you did find out about that, what did that look like for you personally? Like, how did you implement that into your life?
So I've always practiced yoga. Not that I'm a born again Christian. I do not practice any other form of religion. Disclaimer. So classical stretching, whatever you want to call it. I've always felt better. I knew cardio wasn't for my body. I knew certain things, too many stimulants were not beneficial for me. I knew I always felt better sleeping enough and doing yoga. So I always was tuned in that way of like these things make me feel good.
Mhm.
But I did not understand the healing power of nervous system work until a few years ago. My ANA came back positive, right, in my blood work, showing I had this inflammation where there was no root cause. I was eating well, I was doing a lot of things, but I wasn't doing the nervous system piece or sleeping. My pivotal point with the nervous system, and this is why I changed the way I taught my clients 5 years ago. I mean, I was touching on this, but I dove all in, was my journey with long COVID when I met Karen. I was, during that time, I was dealing with chronic pain all over my body. You can read about that in chapter 1 of my book.
Mhm.
I was battling pain all over my body, and I would wake up with my toes curled. So I had COVID, and it attacked my mast cells, which is a whole nother topic. But the point is, I was I was battling fibromyalgia, pain all over my body. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, told to take up to 8 to 9 Advil a day, and told it was never going to go away. That's never enough. That's not going to ever fly with me. I actually believe God is the great physician. I don't take diagnosis as very, I don't really, I don't really believe in that. I mean, whatever. I just was like, yeah, that doesn't fly with me. So this is actually when I was digging deep, found Karen, got the foot baths. But that was huge for me. But I realized on the days that I would do a lot of breath work, I would wake up the next morning and my toes weren't curled. And I would wake up. And so I would be like, huh, okay, I did breath work before bed. I took an Epsom salt bath, certain things I just started noticing on the days that I did a lot of somatic therapies. I was not battling fibromyalgia to the same degree. And I was like, there is a connection there. I am not going to ignore it. And so I'm going to keep doing more breath work. I'm going to keep doing more Epsom salt baths, more yoga. I'm going to say no to some things. I'm going to go to bed on time, all the things I'm teaching my clients. But I literally, I mean, I dove so deep because I was so tired of living with chronic pain. And to anybody battling chronic pain, it is so hard because people can't see it. In the same with depression or anxiety, you feel like you're a prisoner to your own body, your mind. You don't understand why it's happening. And again, COVID was not well researched at the time. Long COVID was not. So over a period of, I don't know exactly how long, a few weeks of me doing breathwork therapy like daily and really working on my nervous system, I woke up one day fibromyalgia free
Wow.
and no pain, nothing. Stopped taking NSAIDs. Stopped, like, no more curls, toes curled, nothing. And so I knew the Lord led me to breath work and healing. But then my gut had also been wrecked because of the NSAIDs that I didn't want to take. I'm very holistic, but I had no choice. I had
Right.
young children at the time. I had to go be a mom. So I am taking all these NSAIDs. Well, my gut was wrecked. My gut began to heal. So many things happened. It reaffirmed what I already knew, but in such a personal way that I couldn't unexperience it. And so I felt called to share it with every client. The Lord, I don't believe waist pain or anything we go through, I don't believe it's for ourselves, just ourselves. I believe if we allow it to help others, it can help others if we're open to that. And so that is how really
Mhm.
it came to be such a big part of my life and my company, the way I teach my clients.
I love that, Laura. This is I get to hear this a lot. And I have my visits with Laura, and
Yeah.
every single time she gives me tips that are easy to incorporate in my life, that are personalized for me, my age, my lifestyle.
Mhm.
And I'm always like, that's it. That was easy. Like it's got to be more work than this. So,
Yeah, well, because our
yeah,
culture's ingrained that into everybody, that
right.
if it's not hard and if you're,
Mhm.
if it's not restrictive, you're failing. And I will just get deep for a minute and say that the devil does not want our culture healthy. There's a reason that only 6% of the population now is left metabolically healthy. There's a reason so many people are battling autoimmune disease, especially women. I believe that he wants the health space noisier than ever. He wants it to, he wants it to be confusing so that way you're always in your thoughts and your creative passions and all of that energy and that brain capacity is going to be spent somewhere else, not on your purpose. And so it is my true, like my passion, my calling is to simplify health, go back to the garden, allow people to feel free of these chains of the health space, which is a billion, trillion, whatever industry, who knows now. It keeps changing. It's a lot of money. And I'll just say, like, the health space does not make money off of your clarity. It makes money off your confusion. I say that all the time
Right.
because it does. It doesn't, it's like you've been missing this GLP-1 your whole life. You've been missing this little whatever's what is it now? Seed multi. I mean, there's so many things where it's like you've been missing creatine. No, I absolutely believe we that there's it's you got to follow the money. And so God has taught me how simple and beautiful a healthy lifestyle is. And that is my forever and will always be my passion is to share that with the world. And so that's
Mhm.
why I do the podcast. And that's why I try to see as many clients as I can. And I do write books because I'm like, it's not meant to be this way.
Well, speaking of books,
Mhm.
let's let's so this is your fourth book,
Mhm.
Just Jump.
Mhm.
And I was sharing with Missy beforehand how you were sending me the chapters like every chapter to read, and how
Yeah.
it inspired me to just jump and start writing my book.
Mhm.
Like I mean that had been like on my thing for years, right?
Yeah.
So what inspired you to write that, Laura?
God loves to surprise me in the most random of times. My favorite place in my house, aside from my bed, because I love to sleep, or my blue chair, because I like my morning routine, is my kitchen. I was in my kitchen one day. I was like meal prepping, and it was around my birthday in April, 2 years ago now, that God was like, "You're gonna write another book, and it's called Just Jump." And I'm sitting here like, huh? Like I had written 3 books in 3 years and I was like, I'm taking a break. I'm taking a break. I have put all the information out there I need to put out. And that's it. Like I'm gonna hang up my hat. Well, I know God is I believe in I don't believe in false humility. I believe God has given me a gift in writing and encouragement and teaching. And so I'm like, I think the answer is to stop. But I didn't think it was for a long, long time I was supposed to write again. I just didn't. And then he gave me this title, Just Jump, in the subtitle, An Overthinker's Guide to Getting Unstuck, Gaining Traction, and Taking Chances. And I'm like, how often are we our worst critics? How often have I stopped myself out of imposter syndrome? Like all these, I got like a spiritual download, and all of a sudden I'm like writing down the titles. I think it was just on my note section in my phone of like, these are the topics you're going to talk about. And so, yeah, so I think my whole life I was my worst critic. And I was afraid to fully put myself out there for so many reasons which we can get into, but the Lord really told me like you are meant to be you. You are meant to leave your unique print on this world. And you've got to stop living ashamed or living like for the approval of others or waiting for them
Mm,
to see your blueprint that they didn't create you. So why would they see your blueprint? Why are you waiting for so many people to give you a green light in life? And I mean, Karen knows the imposter syndrome I've dealt with. God bless you, woman. I go to your office all the time. I'm like, Karen, I'm not okay today. I still have imposter syndrome, but I keep showing up for Jesus because he's healed me. And so I know he gave me gifts and I held
hmm
myself back for a long time. I mean, I've had trauma in my life. I've had things spoken over me that were not loving. And I just kind of always have compared myself to others, have always felt less than others, have always felt like the awkward one. And it was just when the Lord spoke to me, like, I want you to just jump into who I made you. I want you to just jump into your purpose. That I, in the past 2 years, have felt like an unleashing of my spirit I can't explain, where I am like nothing, I'm unstoppable because I know I'm doing what God's asked of me and I no longer look around. I'm just like, I have no more professional like goals this year. Like my goal is to read the Bible in a year. Like I'm like going to look down to the Bible every morning and look up to God, and like whatever he calls me to do, I'm going to stop being anxious about it. Hashtag public speaking. I struggle with that, but I'm like, I'm going to sprint in your gifting and I'm going to stop waiting on the approval of others. And I'm going to let go of things that I had entitled or, things that I had taken ownership of in my past, or labels I had taken upon myself or I had
Mhm.
believed, and I'm letting go of those. And so
And to all that.
it's been beautiful. It's been healing, and I'm glad I wrote it. And it's dedicated to my friend Jessica, who has ALS, who Karen knows well, and my friend Jessica, who passed away. Two Jessicas in my life who passed. One has passed away, and one is fighting every day against a terminal diagnosis. And she is my one of my greatest inspirations. And then my
Oh,
friend Jessica, who passed, she had breast cancer, died at 31, and had a beautiful blog called "Even the Sparrows." Mother of four kids, she lived every day for Jesus, and she did not care what the diagnosis was. She took every day by the horns. And so I really surround myself now with people that point me to Jesus. And these are two women that I felt I wanted to dedicate the book to because they changed my life. And Jessica's story is currently changing my life.
yeah,
Mhm.
I know, and the video with her and the monks that she posted was just like we had Missy, the monks were, they walked
I
from
So
saw.
Texas
beautiful.
to, so
Yes.
it was just absolutely, it was
So
very, very touching the way they took time and
Mhm.
sang to
They
her.
like
And
took time to make her feel seen and heard,
right. And
and
talk
like they
about a
sang.
powerhouse for Jesus. I mean, Jessica, oh my goodness, she is, I mean, um,
and let's
just,
shout out her Instagram page too, because
Oh
it's
yes.
just a story. We can share that in a link too. We'll tag her.
She's
Um,
writing her book right now.
I
And
know
yeah.
I
she
want
is
to,
actually
I'll
writing.
blast it. Yes.
Yes, yes, well, we will all
If
blast
she
it.
doesn't inspire you, I don't really know what will. It's amazing to watch
She
what
challenges me too. And I'm like, oh,
I know.
I
Like
love,
she shows up and
right.
I'm like, it's too cold outside. And here she comes rolling in for her foot
with
detox. And
her cute beanie on. And yeah, she challenged me this past year on my prayer life. And I'm like, I love you. Thank you for that. I needed to hear that. Okay. I've been playing it a little safe in my prayer life and like challenging me to a whole new level. And I'm like, I'm so grateful for her. Yeah.
Well,
so,
and I think, sorry, I just
oh, go
wanted to
ahead.
say this. I think Karen and I are both appreciate your friendship too. And this is the first time we're having a
Yeah,
conversation
face to face.
face to face, but we've been texting. And I
Yeah.
mean, here you are, you wrote 4 books, you have your podcast, you have a family, you have your practice and all these things. And you encouraged us to jump into this podcast when we were like scared. I mean, we were
We're
so
like,
afraid
ah.
of what to do. And I think if there is anything that, like talking to the people watching this, if
Mm,
there's anything that you feel that you're afraid to do, I encourage you to read this book because just the
mm,
first chapter resonated with me so much, especially the feeling of not fitting in. I mean, I feel like I've always been like kind of the black sheep and people don't really understand me and like,
mm.
what is she doing? And, and also feeling like that imposter syndrome of like, well,
Yeah.
also, who does she think she is out here with a podcast?
And
Like,
look, I'm telling you, this is more common than not. So I have reconnected with some friends from high school, and to me, we weren't really friends in high school, but we are now. And to me, these ladies seemed like they had all the things, all the friends,
Mhm.
and I don't know, I think I brought it up like how I just always felt like an outsider. And they all did too. And I'm like, what do you, from the outside,
Right.
it did not look like that. So we were
Yeah.
laughing and I was like, we should all come on the podcast and talk about it.
Right. Well,
I'm just a
Because we
mascot.
think
Yeah.
we have these impressions of other people,
Mhm.
right.
right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it's not always true.
No.
Like,
I wanted
um,
you guys to get started on your podcast because you gain confidence by doing and
Mhm.
not over preparing. And this is one thing I preach about in the book is like there was so much of like you can have all the information, but if you're not putting the next step forward, you'll still be stuck,
Right.
right? So it's beautiful to have information, it's beautiful to prepare, but then you have to execute. And
Mm.
nobody is promised tomorrow. And so that's why I was like, ladies, if God has put this on your heart, and the way he put it on my heart for my podcast, like I didn't know what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing. I have no formal training, but I do it with a full heart, a pure heart. And I think the Lord blesses obedience and he will fuel you on days you're like, I don't think I can. He's like, I want to carry you. And you guys are consistent with your podcast as I am, and it's not always easy. We're gonna have amazing weeks and weeks where I'm like, I'd rather not.
Mhm.
But then the Lord always blesses obedience. And so I just saw the potential in you guys because of your, just your passion, even just the way we were talking before the podcast. It's like God is using you guys. And I have been so touched by your podcast because as I am outpouring onto others, your podcast has poured into me. And
Mm.
so I just want you to know that truly God is using you guys. And
Thank you so much. Yeah.
it's just beautiful to see. And like the things you guys say are so real and raw, which is the only way I know how to help people as well. And I think, yeah, you guys just jumped into it. And I'm so proud of you guys.
Well, I think that's why we've connected so quickly is because your story, I mean, some of these things that I've read so far is just like I felt like you wrote it directly for me.
Mm.
And then
I felt
like
the
the
same way when
question,
I was reading it. I think
right.
everyone reading it's going to have those moments, which
And
is,
then the questions, like the jumping questions. I think
Yeah.
that really is important that when you're reading something, connecting it to yourself and really asking yourself those questions. And I feel like could be just a great guide for people to live a beautiful life and unafraid of, we only get one life. And
Mhm.
like you had said at one point in there, it's short. Like if you look at it, the amount of time we get on this earth, why are we walking around so afraid and worried about what other people are going to say? I
Mhm.
mean, I just think that's such an important message. I hope everybody just runs out and like we're going to link the
Thank
book.
you.
I think it's important, especially knowing your story and the things that you've had to overcome and the obstacles that you face and you still face. I mean, you
Yeah.
still face it. Like you said,
I
you're
absolutely do. The spiritual warfare, like I think that when people are playing in the fields, right, they get attacked. When you're on the sidelines and you're playing it safe, sure, things can seem maybe easier. It's not like when I was writing my third book, just Glass Half Full, I almost like pulled out of that as well. Like I've almost pulled out of every project because
Mhm.
there's been attacks in my life. Um, physically, relationally, financially, just like things that came out of nowhere. And I'm like, okay, and the Lord walks us through and, but I think, if you look at Moses, he's telling God, I can't do this because of I have a stutter and I have this or whatever. And it's like, I didn't ask you. Okay. I didn't ask you if you felt prepared. I told you I'll be with you and I want you to go.
Mhm.
So I am like, all right, I don't feel prepared, but and I will just say this to everybody listening, like the enemy attacks you most where God wants to use you. So if it's insecurity, I mean, I hate getting on a stage. I think that the scars will forever be ingrained on me that I have at times very low self-esteem that I let the Lord, I mean, I'm praying every day, but it's like I hate to be in front of others and look, I have a podcast now. Okay, that was obedience. It's not that I wanted it, but I've gained confidence and confidence through doing what God has asked of me. And so, like, just keep in mind that, like, if you're doing something for God and you feel attacked, keep asking for strength. And then my new prayer has been, God, will you desensitize me to the criticism and accolades of this world? I'm really sick of living for other people. I really just want to live for you. If I feel awkward one day, I'm still going to go into that situation and just know I made you proud. And like, I think God can really do that. There's so much healing that can be had when we just jump in, just jump.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, you just spoke to a lot of people. I want you to speak to your younger self.
Yeah.
And what would you say to her? Like, just say, you're at 19, 18 years old when you were
Mm.
really struggling. What would you say to her now?
You were not created to be anyone else, so stop trying.
Mm,
Just be you. Work on becoming the best version of you, physically, mentally, spiritually. And embrace your quirkiness and embrace your awkwardness. And really appreciate the body God gave you. Understand it's a gift. Understand your voice is a gift, and I just think if you look at the Bible, most of the people that are used felt like outcasts or they were shamed in some way or they had a stutter, right? And so I just feel that to this day, when comparison creeps in, like, nope, I'm not made to be like them. So I think I would say that to myself of stop even looking to the right or the left. You're not supposed to have their body. You're not supposed to have their voice. You're not supposed to have their stage presence. I'm going to give you a stage presence you're supposed to have. Like all these things that, yeah, Karen knows. I mean, I still deal with insecurity, but I think we have to just be like, God, who did you make me to be? Will you help me see me in the way you created me to be? Will you help me see me as you see me? Will you help me love myself, not hate
mm,
myself? Because the enemy wants us to operate and feed ourselves and treat ourselves from a place of hate, right? He wants us to operate from a place of hatred, not love. So I guess I would say just love yourself, embrace the person God made you to be, and stop looking around. Look up.
I love
I
that.
love that, Laura. If someone listening today feels stuck, standing at the edge of something in their life, what would you want them to hear from you?
Um, It won't be any easier tomorrow. There's nothing magical about Monday. There's nothing special about your birthday. There's nothing special, your birthday's special, but there's nothing that's going to motivate you more on January 1st. You're never going to feel like getting started.
Mhm.
Motivation follows momentum. You have to kick the ball down the hill. You got to get going. You put one foot in front of the other. My favorite I can't talk mantra is don't think about it, just do it. Even on a day I have a hard day, I still know the things I need to do. So I just do it and I thank myself later. Work hard, rest later, and fulfillment. So ask yourself, okay, where do I want to go? What are three practical steps to get there? And what is one little thing I could do today? You don't eat an elephant in one sitting, it's one bite at a time. You don't
Mhm.
write a book in one sitting, it's one paragraph at a time, one chapter at a time, right? So I would say, like, I would challenge myself, okay, regardless of how my week is going, I'm going to be writing my fourth book every single week at this time block. And I kept that promise to myself and to God. So you make promises and you keep them. And before you know it, like you'll look back in 6 months to a year and you're a whole different person or you've accomplished something beautiful. But it was the micro choices in your day. It was the consistency. We need to stop like asking ourselves, yes, how we feel when it comes to how we eat and care. But we like when it comes to motivation, just do the things you know you're meant to do. And sometimes the motivation will be there, sometimes it won't, but you will always thank yourself. So I say just get started. Do one tiny thing. One thing today, every day towards your goal.
I love that. I think that's a great place to. Missy, do you have anything else that you'd like to ask?
I think you covered it all. I think
I
this
know
is such a great conversation.
this is great. This feels
Thank you for
so
having me.
Thank
yeah,
you
I
so
haven't
much,
written in my
Laura.
book since I had the concussion. I had but now I'm like
Yeah.
maybe I'll open it back up again after
Like
listening to
a
you.
paragraph a day, Karen. We can do a paragraph a day, and you can. You
I know.
can.
I remember you go when it was editing time, you would go out to your truck or your car, your giant
Yeah.
SUV.
Yeah. my
And go
my
out there
giant
and you would be
SUV. I
like,
still
I'm
need to
going out to edit
figure
my
out how to
book
drive. Yeah.
and then come back in. Like
Yeah.
that's,
Mhm.
Like it's
yeah.
not pretty, but one last thing, I'm sorry, I have one little tidbit, like you guys, time management, because every day is a
Mhm.
gift, but no one's going to do these things for you. And so I
Right.
look at every day as, all right, God, how can I honor you with my time? Part of my morning routine, besides, natural sunlight, breath work, prayer, in Bible time, is my day is on a piece of paper. It's not glamorous. It's not formal. It is a dollar note, like the dollar store magnetic fridge little notepads. I rip one off every morning from start to finish. I have written out not that, a plan that I have to stick to, but a plan that I hope to stick to. And I have my intentions in place. The book didn't get written because I had the time. I'm a working mom, right? I have other responsibilities. I don't eat well or sleep at the right times because, it just happens. Like, no, everything would there's always you're up against a current, but if you're like consistently doing the guesswork, the brain work one time in the morning, what to do. And so I say map out your week on Fridays, map out your day on Monday, every morning, what you're going to eat, how you're going to move, what your life looks like, where the family time is, when you're breaking up with your phone. I mean, I have a 2 hour block, my phone is gone. I'm just very intentional. And I just will say, like, it's not hard, it's those micro choices, but pen to paper, like, you have to do pen to paper. And that will change your life. I challenge every client to do this. And they're like, I can't believe I didn't do this sooner, because now I just feel so much more confident and I'm getting so much more done. So I'm sorry, I had to share that. Time management is huge.
And it
Yeah.
is
I think that's
simple. It's
important and
simple.
great. Yep.
Right. It's a simple choice that we overcomplicate and we make it
Yeah.
to be like, oh, well, we have to do this diet. We have to do that diet.
No, it's the
We have to
micro
do all
choices,
these
you guys.
things. Yeah.
It's not the big, whatever. It's the
Right.
micro choices. It's just you're taking day by day, and then within a month, you're a different person. A year, you're a whole different person. But you have to take those micro choices and like really devote time to them each day. And then it's like a muscle. You can't just pick up the gym, go to the gym, pick up weights one time. You have to go and pick them up consistently, right? And then you see the muscle. And can I leave you guys with a Bible verse that I love?
Absolutely.
Please.
Please.
I have two, actually. Okay. So Isaiah 43:2, when you pass through the waters, I will be with you. When you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze. So I love this verse, and I want to point out that walk and pass are action verbs.
Right.
So it's not like, yes, God will be with us when we sleep, but it's like, get out of bed, right? This is what it speaks to me. Get out of bed and go do something with your day to day. Don't sit there stagnant, and understand, okay, if I have breath in my lungs, I am here for a reason today. So I'm going to take action today, and I'm not going to sit stagnant, regardless if I feel like it or not. I'm going to thank myself later for doing these things. But I
Mhm.
just want to say, yes, God will be with us, but we have to meet him halfway and do the work. So
Mhm.
that's Isaiah 43:2. Galatians 6:9 is one of my favorites. It's something I say to myself, I read and I say all the time, is don't get weary in doing good, because at the proper time, you will reap a harvest if you don't give up. And if you think about a harvest and a farmer, he has the seeds, right? I did a little talk at my kids' school at their chapel, and I brought, I had some pictures up on the screen, and it was a handful of seeds, right? So every seed is a healthy micro choice, physically, mentally, spiritually, it's a choice. You don't see the harvest right away, but what God sees, and what is actually happening behind the scenes, is roots are growing, things are happening. And one day, yeah, you do look back and you have the book. One day you do look back and you have your health back, or maybe you're healthy for the first time. Beautiful things happen, but there's a lot of behind the scenes of seed planting day by day. So don't get tired in the midst of planting the seeds when you don't see the harvest yet.
Yes.
Mm.
God will bless you with a harvest. Just trust it's coming, and know that you're not responsible for the outcome, but you are responsible for planting the seeds day by day. So I just had to share those two verses because they really have blessed me so much.
I love that.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Yes.
Guys,
Sure.
everybody run out and get this book. We're going to link it. Just jump. We're going to link Laura's podcast, her Instagram page. She's a wealth of information, and she's a real deal. She's lived it herself, and she's not going to give you advice or information that she hasn't already tried it for herself. So
Yep.
we thank you so much for taking the time on a busy Saturday
Love you
to
guys. Oh, no, this has been the
spend
highlight
time
of my
with
weekend.
us.
Yes, thank you guys so much for having me, and I hope it blessed someone. And please reach out if anybody listening would love some encouragement or needs a
Mhm.
nutritionist.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you
Lars
guys.
is virtual as well. So
Oh
Yes, I
yeah,
if
that's
you're
do.
good
not
to
in
know.
Virginia, we found out we have people watching in lots of other
Yes, I do
places.
virtual all
Right.
the
Yeah.
time. I love
Yeah,
virtual.
so that's important to know that, and Karen, you're both, well, you're both based in Virginia.
Yes.
I'm in South Carolina, but the fact that, I can do virtual appointments is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because it really does free up
Mm-hmm.
the amount of people that you can look at, that you can
Mm-hmm.
see, and you can
Mhm.
really treat a lot of different people. But I appreciate what you do. Thank
Aw,
you again.
thanks for
And
having me. This has been so great.
we
Mhm.
really appreciate it. So, everybody, have a
Yep.
great day. Thank you
Yep.
for being here and
Mhm.
watching,
Bye.
and we'll
Yep.
see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.